you're new to my channel, my name is Anna. If you're not, my name is still Anna. Either way, today I'm doing my rolling eyeshadow pan where I work on 10 eyeshadows at a time and choose a goal for each, and then once I hit a goal I roll in a new eyeshadow. And if you haven't seen these videos before, a lot of them are Franken eyeshadows, and if you don't know what that is, that's basically when you take an eyeshadow, take another eyeshadow, or however many, you take some of each, scrape them all together, mix it up, repress it with some isopropyl alcohol, boom, you made your own shadow. Different color, different formula, whatever you want to do, it's your choice. So a lot of these are Frankens, and so there's less product typically in those, and they're also easier to go through because they're not pressed as firmly as a machine would by most manufactured palettes you buy from stores. I'm rambling, but let's just start with the Franken shadows and depotted shadows that are in this old e.l.f. palette, and I will show what it looked like last month. So as you can see from the comparison pictures, there is a lot of changes. Like, I made a lot of progress and I'm pretty proud of myself. I have not really worn makeup for this past week because I kind of got burnt out by going super hard and just being like, gotta wear makeup every day. And I needed to take a bit of a break. Also, I lost all motivation for everything, so I kind of like didn't do anything for a couple days there, but I'm gonna give myself grace because gosh dang it, it's 2020 and what a year. As I go through each of these shades, I might be putting up pictures of looks I did with the shades if I have any good pictures. But let's just start with this first one. This is the transition shade in the Wet n Wild's reformulated Walking on Eggshells palette. This is like the last shade from that palette I still have, and it's in here. I rolled it in last time, I believe, and I used it 4 times in the past month, so I hit interesting pan. Clearly I didn't press it super evenly, so it was kind of lumpy, so I kind of have like 5 or something different pans. So yeah, there's progress, it's just kind of weird progress. This guy, which I rolled in 1 or 2 months ago, and it was a Franken shadow, and I hit pan surprisingly quickly. I didn't think I was that close. I'm actually wearing it in the crease today, and it is this beautiful kind of rosy mauvish shade, but yeah, I hit pan, so pretty happy with that. And this next shade was the gold shade in the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air, aka the Modern Renaissance. Dude, am I Australian? Modern Renaissance palette. I don't know what just happened there. The Modern Renaissance palette has that gold shade. Wet n Wild made their own little dupe palette. So it was from that one. I did finish it today. It is on my eyes. I could tell, I mean, I would never say it was the best formula ever, but Wet n Wild has a decent formula, and it's one of the oldest palettes I had, and it wasn't even in palette form. It fell apart, so I kind of just, the remains of it kind of spread out everywhere. But yeah, the shimmer definitely, it wasn't as metallic or intense. It was definitely getting older and just kind of becoming more lackluster. I used the shade 6 times this month for a total of 16 times within this project. I had significant pan in it when it was in the original palette, so it didn't have a ton to begin with, but yeah, really happy that's out just because it's a kind of muted gold shade. I don't really need one of those. This next shade is a Franken shade that's kind of a taupey lavender one, and I used it 4 times this month, which is insane because I think in the past like 4 months I used it once or something like that. So I really used it a lot more, and yeah, just really happy with that. I think I'm getting, it's super thin in the pan. I don't know how easily you can tell, but there's not a ton left in there, so really happy about that. This next one was also a Franken kind of rose gold bronzy shade. I was using it as a blush topper. I used it 4 times in the past month to finish it up, and I'm pretty sure each of those times was as a blush topper. And I used it 19 times ever since I started tallying my usage for the eyeshadows, because I believe I didn't start tallying my eyeshadow usage until the 2nd or 3rd month into this kind of project. So it was in since the very beginning. So really happy that it's out of my life. The next one that I'm the most proud of, it was this deep blurple, blue, purple, indigo kind of shade. It was a bit more sheer. I needed a lot to be built up, and it looked more blue on the eyes than purple. I used this 6 times this month, and a total of 25 times since I started counting tallies. Again, it was in since the beginning of the project, so it took a long time, and I'm so glad that I don't have to worry about it. It was a beautiful shade. I was just getting really tired of like bluey purple. It was just so vibrant and so intense, and it was almost too cool toned for my preferences. I like cool tones, but like this is actually abnormal for me to work kind of this warm look. But anyways, really happy this is done. It was just, there was so little left, but I wasn't sure if I could make it just because it was a hard shade to use. Now this next shade, also a Franken, I used 4 times. I believe I just expanded the pan slightly. Beautiful shade. I just was focusing on other ones, so yeah, I didn't have a specific goal other than expanding the pan. So yeah, I'm really happy with the progress I made. I mean, I hit 2 pans and I finished 3 shades just in this palette alone, and then I made significant progress on the other 2, so I'm really proud of myself. Now this next palette I'm really happy about, and it is the Wet n Wild Petal It Quad. I will put a picture comparing last month to this month. I finished another shade, and I've officially finished all 3 shades here because a little bit of this shade was actually frankened into that blurple shade. So I've officially finished 3/4 of the palette. This guy, some of it is in that Franken mauve shade that I hit pan on, and so yeah, making progress. I used this 4 times in the past month, and a total of 19 times within the project since, I believe this was in since the beginning, so again, there's a couple months that weren't accounted for, but yeah, I'm so close to finishing, and I've never finished an entire palette with every single shade, so I know this is just a quad, but if I finish this entire thing by the end of the year, I'll be very, like, proud of myself. I'll feel accomplished. Pretty sure this is the most eventful update I've had in this entire project. Anyways, moving on to a number 7 trio where only one of the shades is the original one, and I just have other ones put in there. The one shade has been in here since the beginning, but I'll put up before and after pictures first. Now this one was one that I didn't hit my goal on. I've only used this shade 2 times in the past month. Yeah, with how many eyeshadows I was so focused on finishing up, I'm not too mad at myself. One of them was bound to be neglected. It is this beautiful kind of taupey, rosy taupe shade. It's not like a yellow tone taupe, it's a red tone taupe, which I prefer. My goal was to clear out this top little sliver. I mean, I almost did. I probably could have used it one more time, but I didn't wear a ton of makeup this past week, and I didn't feel like forcing myself. And I really like the shade, so I don't want to rush myself, so yeah. Didn't do a ton there, but you know, I still used it. This blue shade is a Franken, and I used it 3 times. I don't know how well you can see, but I think I did increase the dip. I think I am kind of close to hitting pan. I don't know how well you can see, but yeah. Again, these 2 I wasn't super focusing on, but I still got use out of, so I'm not mad. So, since I finished 4 shades in the past month, I get to roll in 4 more, which is like, wow. Since I finished this gold shade in this palette, I wanted to work on another goldish shade, and this was from that little Franken palette I made in the midst of April when I basically went insane. So yeah, it's a kind of goldy champagne-y shade. There's not a ton in here because it's like this tiny little Wet n Wild pan, but I plan on repressing it into here because these pans aren't magnetic, and I basically disassembled that little palette thing I made just because it helped me through a time, but I don't need it anymore. On a similar note, for this kind of bronzy shade, I have a similar rose goldy kind of shade from that Franken palette. As you can see, it is a very beautiful kind of rose goldy kind of tone, and I'm thinking I could also use it as a blush topper. I don't know why it looks more gray in the pan. I don't know. At the end of this video, I think I'll put a picture of like all the swatches of all the shades I'm working on, just kind of see the color palette. It's a very me color palette, so hopefully that'll make it easy. But yeah, these two will be repressed into my little e.l.f. palette. And the last one to be repressed into that e.l.f. palette to replace that indigo kind of color is this deep purple shade from the Petalette palette. And there is actually quite a bit in here, even though I have used it in at least 2 Frankens. And yeah, it's a pretty deep shade, like, so it'll be kind of hard for me just because, I mean, you can sheer it out a bit, so. But again, I'm so fair that I kind of get scared of dark colors, unless if I use it as a liner. But yeah, I want to repress it into there just so I don't have to carry around this extra palette. And I want to finish it by the end of the year. I will finish it. And because I finished that lavender shade from the Wet n Wild quad, I wanted to roll in another light shade, and so there's this kind of rosy pink shade that was repressed into this number 7 palette a while ago. Not a ton left in there, but I just want to finish it up because it might have some of the pink shade from the Walking on Eggshells Wet n Wild quad that I had, so another reason that I want to finish it up. But yeah, just because it's in a convenient thing. So now all my eyeshadows I'd be working on would just be in these 2 places. So lastly, let's move on to my goals. At the end of the video, I will also put up a picture of all of the shades repressed into this palette, but clearly I can't say much about my goals for the new shades because they're not in here. I would like to make this pan to be like one pan where they're all connected instead of a bunch of mini ones. Just want to expand this pan. I want to finish this lavender shade just because there's so little left. The new shades, I just want to make as much progress as I can. Maybe hit pan, who knows? I don't know how much it'll take up in the pan. For this green shade, again, just expanding the pan, nothing too specific as of right now. And I honestly think I might be able to finish this pink shade. If I use it as a blush topper and an eyeshadow, it could be really easy. Because I didn't hit my goal on this number 7 shade, I'd like to finish up the rest of the top stuff and try to use up the eyeshadow down here as well to make it so it's just on this side, but who knows. I would like to hit pan in this blue shade though, because I do think it is getting close. Yeah, so I want to finish 1, maybe 2 shades, and then hit pan in this one, and kind of work on the edges on this guy, and just, you know, have fun with the new shades that I rolled in. Even though they're kind of similar from what I was working on, I just want to get out all of the Frankens so that eventually I can make new Frankens or work on singles or something. But yeah, this is working for me right now, so just kind of doing that. I will see how my progress goes now that I start school, but I'm pretty sure I won't be going to school in person that much. I'm starting my first year of college, but I'm pretty sure it'll mostly be online. But I'm pretty sure that is everything. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you are doing an eyeshadow project. I would love to see. And I hope that you have an amazing day. Bye.